Mr. X, why aren't there any statues on your table for me to see? Well, the reason for that is the title in the video. Got another top 10 list for you guys, and this one I can't remember who, so I do apologize, but one of the viewers actually suggested this video, so if that was you, go ahead and comment below and I'll pin it at the top. But they're like, why don't you do a countdown on your top 10 biggest statues? And at first I thought, well, no, that's going to be too difficult to do because what do you consider biggest? Is it height? Is it width? Is it a combination of that? Is it the cubic volume? Which, as much as I love you guys, I'm not going to go measure the depth, width, and length of all my statues and calculate the cubic volume. Is it the weight? Most of these, I have no idea how much they weigh. Some of them may weigh more than I do. However, I did figure out a way to pre-qualify which are the biggest statues. We're going to come back to that. Before we go into that, we're on the cusp of 2 statue giveaways. One is this Mortal Kombat statue. I don't know when this is going to air. We may have already given this away. If we didn't, make sure you've liked this video and you're subscribed to the channel and hit that bell notification for a chance to win that. A video will be following shortly if we haven't given it away. If we have given it away, that means we're doing a new contest. So you need to follow all the directions I just said and also comment on this video. But hold on to the comment till the end, unless you just want to say how sexy I am, because I'm going to ask you a specific question. So I decided this is the best way to measure if this is the biggest statue in my collection. How big of a pain in the ass is it to move? When I look at that, how afraid am I to move this piece? And there was about 40 of them initially that it's like, oh crap. And as I narrowed it down, you can probably imagine it got really difficult to distinguish how much more do I hate moving this one than this one. But I finally got the list down. So we're going to count down the top 10 biggest statues in my collection as it's defined by how afraid am I to move this because it's such a pain in the ass. Now I really think you're going to be surprised at some that aren't on the list, but you'll never know what they were because they weren't on the list. But I actually do have 4 honorable mention. So in no particular order, these are the honorable mention. First is my custom Magneto vs. Sentinel. And I bet you a lot of you are thinking a lot of these from this line are going to be on this list. Well, you'll have to wait and see. But this one is the prototype, so I don't know if it weighs more than others, but it is massively heavy. And there are so many things sticking out all over the place. I'm very afraid every time I move it, I'm going to hit something or break something off. But the weight on this is incredible. And again, I think it weighs more than the production pieces simply because it's the prototype. This next piece, I know for sure because I recently moved it to another building, is Prime 1 Studios Venom. This is a heavy, heavy piece. And just like the Magneto, there's parts sticking out all over. Even taking this apart, it was still decently heavy. But I'm always afraid to move this. And especially, I actually put this on a top shelf, so having to lift it to that top shelf is incredibly difficult. Another piece by Prime 1 is their Killer Croc statue. What I do like about this is, while it's difficult to move as a whole, the torso comes off. So it is a little bit easier to move, but I kind of thought about it as how difficult is this to move when it's completely together. All of these are like this. Some disassemble easier, but it is a massive piece. It may be the tallest 1/3 scale statue I have. Number 12 is a combination of weight and size and really no hand grips on it. This is the Queen Studios Thanos bust. This is 2 different pieces. Anytime I move it, I usually take it apart. It is just massive. Takes up so much room. And with such an expensive piece too, you're also very afraid of damaging it. I really don't drop statues, but I'm afraid I might hit something when I'm moving it into place or even across the room. I think sometimes I would sacrifice my own body to save a statue when I'm moving something if the weight is too much and my body's about to give out. Now we're going to move into the top 10. So one thing you can comment as well, try and guess what my number 1 is. Put that in the comments below. But let's dive into number 10. Number 10 is another Prime 1 Studios piece. It's only a 1/4 scale, but this is the Guts Berserk Bloody. And initially, I thought the armor was going to make the list because the armor is quite a bit taller, but I recently moved both of these, and this is so heavy. The base itself is incredibly heavy. I was scared the shelf it was on won't hold it, and I actually have to move it in another few weeks here, so I'll probably take it apart to do it. But the weight on this alone, and then the height is, I think, depending on how you hold the sword, the height can be up to 35, 36 inches for a 1/4 scale piece, which is just crazy to me. Number 9, a lot of this is the base. The circumference of the base, the diameter of the base, and the weight of the base is huge on this custom Maestro piece. And the maestro isn't light either. The maestro is all one piece minus the head. So realistically, when you're moving this, there's a lot of danger because a lot of the pieces in the base keyed in as well. And honestly, if you take them out, you don't remember where they went because this was a custom. There weren't any instructions, but I hate moving this piece. Thankfully, the height on it isn't too much. Number 8 is the Cool Props Pred Alien piece. The dreads in here don't stick in very well, so you always have to remove the dreads, but you still have a huge issue moving this. And I actually moved this from California to Colorado in the back seat without the proper packaging. I'm more talking about not necessarily moving in a car, but physically moving it. You want to make sure the length on this, I want to say it's like 36 inches. It's just crazy. And the mandibles don't get broke. Very dangerous piece to move, and it's just massive. Number 7 is a recent acquisition. This custom Thanos on throne. If you recall, it said on the box 132 pounds. I think it weighs damn near 110 or so when it's all put together. It is just crazy heavy. And the height and the width don't help when you're moving it, especially a piece like this. All the weight's in the back, so you want to hold it by the back, but generally when you're pushing it onto a display, you're pushing it from the front. So that creates even more of an issue. Number 6 is another Prime 1 piece, Mr. Freeze. This 1/3 scale piece, a lot of issues with this. So first of all, the size and weight is just massive. So there's a lot of precautionary stuff you need to do with that. But then you have icicle shards sticking out all over the place, on the back, on the front, on the sides. You have Mr. Freeze in about 20 different attachments, including his hand that could easily fall off, which creates even more danger when moving it. So I think this does qualify as maybe one of the bigger pieces because of those. Like I said, we don't have an exact formula of width or depth, because do the icicle shards count for that? Who's to say? Number 5 is also a very cold piece. This is my custom Iceman vs. Sentinel. I never want to move this piece. When I did move it from the review table to where it's currently set at now that you can see, it actually was a lot easier than I thought, but it was not easy. So the reason why this is only number 5 and not in the top 4 is because I know the other ones are even more difficult to move. But this guy would definitely disassemble before I moved him, but I never want to move him again. Number 4 is Jet Power Optimus Prime. This weighs, I think, near 100 pounds or so. I don't find this incredibly difficult to move because you can get good handles on the side. But since there's 100 pieces on it, as well as 100 pounds, I'm always worried something's going to fall off. And the height of this, the width, is also incredibly large. So there's the issue with that as well. As far as strictly size and weight, it is the Prime 1 Studios Doomsday. The base on this is massive. I've moved it actually recently a few times. I redid my DC room. And if you take it apart, it's really not that difficult. But I can't imagine someone trying to even move this together. I don't think it would be possible with one person unless you're, strongman competition. Number 2 shouldn't surprise anybody. A lot of people probably thought this was number 1, is Prime 1 Studios Shockwave. I have a feeling the Imaginarium Arts Devastator might take the number 1 spot, or at least push everybody down and become the new number 2 spot. But this one, I actually am thinking about moving it just right next to it, so I may have to get my wife and my son and all 3 of us kind of do it at the same time. But size, weight, everything, just scared to death to move this piece. So now we're down to number 1, and number 1 is strictly about size. It's a piece that's bigger than I am. It's a life-size piece. Some of you may have guessed it. It is the Han Solo in Carbonite. This piece right here, I don't want to move strictly due to the size. I honestly think it might weigh a little less than Shockwave, and technically it would be a little bit easier to navigate, but you just worry about one scuff on a wall could completely destroy this. This one actually has a little bit of cracking on the base that I need to repair, but I don't ever want to move this. Thankfully, he's in an awesome spot, so he will probably sell with this house when I sell the house. So those are the 10 biggest pieces in my collection, however you define biggest pieces. Now is the comment I was talking about. Now I want you to comment what is the biggest piece in your collection. And it may be very easy. Maybe you have a lot of smaller pieces and just one that the size is significantly different. Or maybe you kind of have to use a formula like me where there's a lot that might fall into that number one spot that are very similar. So just kind of use that formula of what is the biggest pain in the ass to move. Go ahead and comment that in the comments below to let everybody else know. It'll be cool to see what some of the biggest pieces out there are. And what I really want to stress on this video, guys, and few gals that are watching, is not once did I say that's what she said joke. You should be extremely proud of me.
That's what she said.
Hey, that's what she said.
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 Thanks for watching. Hit that Mr. X logo to subscribe if you liked all those collectibles and you want to see more stuff like that. Check out some of these other countdown playlists, and I will talk to you tomorrow, but make sure you take care of yourself till then.